the work that we're doing on the marketing side. So they are a global agency. They actually are leading in Web3. They've done work with the likes of Algorand and Bittrex and First Digital, to name a few.
Patty, we lost you there for the last 10 seconds.
I'm sorry. Somebody asked me a question.
Yeah, we lost you there, Patty.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we lost you after you kind of introduced Funday and some of the brands that they worked with in the past.
Sure. So sorry, my connection's not good here. So Funday is a global Web3 leading agency. They've done work with Algorand, Stephane, Bittrex, First Digital. They've done global work. They've done work around different types of campaigns. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. I think there was someone else running interference. Boy.
Yeah, sorry, my connection and the interference. So the work that we're doing with them, it's going to help us really elevate the brand and EOS, the architect, in terms of how the relationship between the different stakeholders and things we manage within the network, and help continue to build our narrative, which is the other. So we have a common story, and then also really, as we start scaling, making sure that we're kind of growing the brand and having the impact that we want in the market. And this, I don't know if you recall, when I first joined, is one of the biggest opportunities I see in this space is really to help elevate the brand and build brands in this space, because it can make it's a key differentiator to us, and especially if we don't have the resources like other ones in this space. So I'm excited to start the work. We just kicked it off. I'll to you guys and gals with updates and how we also will involve the teams in the process as well. So that is my update on that. And then I guess I'm sure Zack will cover, but we're excited for next. We've got two big events that the teams are going to. Paris Blockchain Week. So you've seen a lot of communication around that, and the Game Alliance, Blockchain Game Alliance event, the GDC. But thank you. That was my update.
All right, great. Thank you, Patty, for sharing that with us. Zack, was there anything else you wanted to talk about in relation with this stuff?
Well, just I guess maybe, Patty, you want to kind of share some of the nuances? So ENF branding's relatively simple because we own the IP and kind of control that destiny, but there's still baggage on the EOS side. So as everyone knows, like there's two versions of the chest, what we call the chestahedron. There's the original EOS logo that was used mostly during the ICO. It's the one with the more lines to it. And then there's the simplified version, which Block One released at some point, 2019 or so. And that one we've had to kind of abandon because that particular logo is under copyright in multiple countries. And there has actually been a history of like Block One sending cease and desist orders to previous projects in the EOS ecosystem. One of them was like SenseChat, for example, when they wanted to use the EOS name and logo in the App Store, they got a cease and desist letter. This was a couple of years ago. But that's a big reason you've probably seen, since the ENF has launched, you've seen a resurgence of the original EOS logo. The reason behind that is because we just can't use the second one, the more modern one that Block One released. They protect it with the IP. And the IP, as everyone knows, that was the big line in the sand that was drawn or 2 Decembers ago now, whenever Block 1 was essentially fired. So it's one of the limitations with the EOS brand. So it also kind of complicates a branding process. So we've been pretty transparent about targeting blockchain gaming and GameFi in particular, about a big target demographic for the future of where the ENF directs its time and resources and focus. And in doing so, that's part of what we plan to do with Funde is how do we visually enable the brand of EOS and ENF and all of the sub-brands around that, like EOS EVM, for example. How do we kind of give those the visual identity of a gaming brand, for example? And how do we do it in a way that respects the history of EOS and what brought us all here in the first place? So that's one of the things I kind of wanted to bring up also. I really just want community feedback on how they believe the best approach would be to give EOS, without changing its name, we're not talking about changing names for a branding process, but as far as a visual identity. So if we wanted to visually identify with the EOS network, what would that look like? Should we just stick with status quo? Like if you're a hardliner and you're just like, the chestahedron's great, let's keep the chestahedron intact exactly as it was. And the limitations there, it's black and white, same with the ENF logo, limited in color. It's already embedded in a lot of logos external to, like, I guess, building on top of the EOS network. So if you look at all of the block producers logos, for example, they're all a lot of them are based out of the chestahedron. So just really getting community feedback on what you think the direction should be if you were kind of in control. And we'll keep everyone in the loop along the way. But I really just wanted feedback on, do you want status quo? Like, is what we have good? Because I personally believe that the chestahedron is very difficult to work with in our experience. It looks bad on any background besides black or white. It's a little bit busy.
And it's the current chestahedron too, the way that, and there's a lot of challenges with working with it in different mediums as well. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's also the current visualization of the chestahedron, right?
So yeah, I just really wanted to get feedback because there are strong ties to the chestahedron. A lot of people feel very strongly about it, and there's a few different directions that things could go. It could be a complete refresh. This is the new EOS. Let's start brand new. It could be, let's modernize everything. Let's throw it back to the chestahedron somehow, so you could identify with it. Like if you look at the ENF logo, for example, you can clearly see the connection to the chestahedron. As long as you're from this ecosystem, you can kind of see that they're very similar. But as we go through these like processes with these with Funde, there's going to be a lot of different directions thrown at us that we need to kind of make decisions on. And since we're very, very early in the process, it's just kicking off, I think, either this week or very soon. I just wanted to kind of throw it out there for community feedback on what everyone thinks, so that your voice can be heard and kind of factored into some of these early discussions.
So yeah, let's hear it, guys. What do you think? What do you think is the current visual identity of the EOS network? What would you like to see it? I see we've got a couple of answers in the chat already. We got Aaron Cox saying, out with the old, he wants to get rid of it. Tony pumping his bag, suggesting a nautical theme. Nice try, Tony. Yeah, what do you guys think? We'd love to hear from you.
I don't know if you can hear me, but
yeah. Hey,
if you can hear me, I'd say EOS performs better than any other blockchain. This community, EOS, offers more opportunity than any other blockchain. Antelope and IBC and go on and on. So let the the new marketing scheme screamed that.
So is that a vote for designing something new?
Indeed.
Okay, there we go. So we got two votes so far. Both of them design something new. Let's see some ones in the chat if you think we should design something new, or let's see some zeros in the chat if you think we should stick to something that closely resembles the chestahedron, which is the logo that is now being used for this Discord server. We got some ones rolling in from NS James, Aaron Cox, Tony, 0 from Jack Bites, Lewis asking questions, designing something new for the visual identity of the EOS network. So the logo for the EOS network. Right now it's the chestahedron, which you can see here as the logo for this Discord server. Sebastian is proposing a retro palm tree. All right, I like it. Joshua Seymour coming in with the 1. Yana, new answer with 0.5.
I have a question.
Logo. Yes, who's this?
This is Jesse with the Bees. If we went with a new logo that's not the chestahedron, would it also make sense for the ENF to change their logo because it's like a derivative of the chestahedron? So to me, it would be like much more labor intensive to change the logo, especially because it's like on all the exchanges. I do agree that like the current chestahedron is not that great, so I would vote for option 2 to have just a cleaner, more modernized chestahedron.
So the issue with the exchanges
I'm sorry, there is a connection, of course, with the ENF and the logo. It was inspired by the chestahedron. So, that is definitely something that we would look at for the connection. And I'm not sure if you, if somebody was getting ready to ask or if it was coming in, what we would look at is also, of course, competitive marketplace and how other organizations, and not just in our category, in our industry, but others use. So typically, we would try to rally around making and getting behind one mark that represents, all components of what we're doing.
So if you look at the what would you call this, Patty? The house of brands when we were talking yesterday?
Yeah.
If you look at Ethereum as an example, like there's like 8 different versions of the Ethereum logo, and they're colored a little bit differently. One represents the foundation, one represents the token, but they all look the same. Like if you saw it, you'd be like, that's the Ethereum logo. But it could be a number of them. That's just one example in crypto. Then there's other ones where the foundation has a derivative of, like a closer derivative than the ENF to the chestahedron. Algorand, for example, it's essentially just the Algorand logo with a specifically shaped box around it. So there's a visual connection between the two. And that's another area that's a bit complicated right now because we're the ENF. We don't want to necessarily speak on we aren't the EOS network, but we represent the EOS network. And sometimes a partner might only be able to put one logo on a poster or a graphic, let's say. And we need to make that choice. And usually we use the ENF just because, for a couple of reasons, but one of them is just it looks better because the chestahedron that's not trademarked, its lines are very thin, it's busy, and it's just kind of creating more issues recently because we have a spin-off, so we got EOS EVM, and then just the partnership in general, these conversations of, okay, let's do a graphic together, which logo should be used? It's come up more recently than previously, and also just the fact that we're entering into this relationship with Funday. So I just wanted to kind of talk to the community about this because obviously you all are the EOS community. And as I think, Jesse, where you're going with the ENF logo, I think everything is open for change if it is for the betterment of EOS. So even though the ENF is a relatively new brand, we're not necessarily married to it, because if the EOS network were to go through a visual upgrade, then the ENF would be right there along with it, with our mark. It's not so established that many people outside of the EOS community would miss it, or anyone really.
Yeah, I love all the people in the comments, but if folks want to speak up and be heard, that would be really appreciated too. If you just feel like grabbing the mic, jump on.
What do you think about it, Brandon?
I have a lot of feelings about it, but I'm kind of interested in just hearing what
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm really flexible. I think what I want to see is coherent, like a coherent brand structure, like that unifies everything together. And because right now what we have is a little over here, over there, not, between Antelope and the ENF and EOS, it's just like there's not a lot of direct correlation there. So yeah, we have a bit of we're at odds kind of with ourselves. So I just want,
I think, I'm sorry, Brendan, but I think the second half of last year, as we started getting into market and looking at campaigns and physical and live experimental experiences that we're trying to put together, and how do we talk about the relationships between these things, and how do we direct new users, especially into this ecosystem, to the right places, and the findability and the domains and the content. So there's a lot to be considered, and the brand is not just the mark, it's everything else that we will put around it. And so, to your point, being cohesive and really thoughtful about what that is part of the work that will go. And it's really helping us to better scale long term.
I have some thoughts. Like, I'm not opposed to changing our logo, because I see how like a facelift could help us change the narrative and help us change our brand image and those things. I like how our current logo is geometric, and I like how simple it is, so we can create derivatives like the ENF did. I mean, but the reason we're doing it, I guess, just seems absurd to me. Like, Block One doesn't own a copyright.
Block One does have a mark, a trademark in several countries for the one that they've primarily used. So they still have the legal claim to it.
Yeah, the
simplified. I mean, they don't own a
simplified version.
Shape, so.
Yeah, the simplified version. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Not the chestahedron.
Yeah.
itself.
So. They don't own like a shape. So if we had like a clean room implementation, like if someone just drew it, or we had a designer make it and it looks similar, like, first of all, does that matter? I mean, my second question is, and I only have 3 thoughts here. My second question is, like, sure, they've sent nasty, scary letters to people, but have any of these actually ever gone to court, and have they ever actually gotten awarded anything? Because to me, this just seems ridiculous. It's like people owning colors. I mean, I know that like Pantone owns a bunch of colors and that's enforceable, but it just is the most ridiculous thing in the world. And then the third thought was, well, I guess I forgot the third thought. I lost my train of thought. So on the second,
Zach, on your second thought, on the mark, they do. I mean, I think that what usually happens is it's challenged in court if they're not using the mark. So you can claim to it and you're using it as part of your business, but if they're, in the way that they're using, there's a lot of things there. It's probably not the path that we'd want to go to, because I think, I believe we do have a lot more options with your first consideration, which is we have a chestahedron, like there's a shape that can provide a lot of flexibility in itself. There's a lot of design, creative thinking that can happen just with that shape. So that's we're not. There's no decision on anything, right? I think it was just the idea of kind of where we are, and just looking at examining what are some of the better options for us, because it is a challenge, and we do need to drive some cohesiveness and go through the exercise.
I agree. I remembered my third point, and I appreciate everything you just said. I heard you. But my third point was, did they ever publish their logo in a GitHub repo under the MIT license? Because that's extremely permissive.
I don't know that specifically, but they did publish it in external communications, and they still use it on websites. So they're using the mark that the simplified tetrahedron, right? Not the one that they own.
Hello, if I may say something. This is Jack Bites, by the way. I like the seniority of the token in itself. So that's why. Hello.
I had a thought with all this, and it's more of a.
Hey, hold on.
Well, Marco, someone was speaking. Jack Bites was speaking.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Jack Bites again. So the seniority of the token, I think it's very, very important. With the logo, and as Phil was saying in one of his comments, that a kid on the store saw the logo and they recognized it immediately. So I think this seniority, this a token that is acting well since 2018, I think that's a very strong side of what we have with the name EOS and its original symbol. But at the same time, and I feel this, that's like my other side of me, it's saying, okay, we really need to separate strongly from Block One. And I am going to post it right now, a comment that a writer from Protos wrote in last week on the 6th. And he's saying outright that Block One with EOS have invested in Silvergate. And so there is no separation between Block One and the current EOS. In that whole article, what I take it is that the writer in itself is thinking that Block One EOS are the same one. And then they invested in Silvergate. And so he's posting in here just last week $7 million that Blummer lost in this investment, and it's carrying with EOS. So I think that's affecting us also as the token. So I strongly think that we need to separate EOS from Block One, but at the same time, we need to keep that old logo and the name as the seniority. It is a difficult subject, but I think we should leave this to the professionals to decide in a better, stronger marketing to separate and say, here's the new EOS, and there's nothing to do with Block One.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think your point on the value of what we have today, that mark, the recognition, right? That's what we call brand value. That people, you don't have to go through that. There's already some recognition and awareness, and we've experienced that. So that is something that has to be evaluated versus building of a new mark and a new story and a new business. So there's definitely considerations in both of those. And as I think Zack mentioned too, because the EOS has been, the last 3 years in different places, like the reach and the integration that mark is where it is today, it's pretty extensive. Just working with the likes of Binance and Coinbase and some of the exchanges, but also with partners and documentation. Like it's definitely integrated into, as it should be, in all of the experience. So it would be a project to transform that.
And maybe another question for the community is Chase here from Challenge Deck is, say if we did pivot and have a new logo, how much work and what would it take to get that logo adopted by other exchanges? And and that sort of thing. I know at Challenge Act we've changed our logo, I believe 3 times, and it's always, I think still to this day we have some websites that have our original first logo. So reaching out to people and letting them know that the logo's changed and letting people know that, I know, can be difficult. So is that something that we've thought about or would know how it would look like?
Yeah, it's a consideration for sure. Usually, what you do with some like the brand transformation is that you would set up toolkits and different communications and outreach programs, and start with some of the bigger experiences, like where you have the biggest footprint, and then in all customer or user interfaces first, right, where it's displayed heavily. So there is a way to do the brand transformation. It just, like you said, it takes time and it takes a lot, effort depending on how ingrained you are in the market and partners and channels and all of that sort of stuff that comes into play. So there would be a plan that would need to be, created and supported for that.
Yeah, and to add to that, there's already that issue. So there's already 2 versions of the EOS logo. And if you go on 10 different exchanges, you're going to see probably about a 50-50 split of which logo is being used. So we're in a situation now, it's like we could go to, we already have gone to a lot of exchanges to update like the EOS profile, for example, the text. On all of the major exchanges, and then going through to like the next tier down and then the next tier down. But there's still this, it's you have to do them one by one. And then there's block explorers that like, and then there's wrap tokens on block explorers on like Binance, like the wrapped EOS over there. But there's already 2 versions of the logo. So we could go through the process now and just kind of be like, okay, switch to the original logo because that's the one we're using, and that's the one the NF is using. We can't not use the logo that was used in the years leading up to the NF. We have to use the original one. And if we went through the process of hitting all 200 plus exchanges to update to the original logo, it's the same amount of work if in a couple of months if we have something completely different and if we want to go through that upgrade process. So that's why one of the reasons it hasn't happened is because this tedious task of hitting up every single website that has any version of the logo to get some brand consistency, even if we just stick with the original Chester, that needs to be done regardless. But it needs to be done if we're going to have the possibility of a refresh in visuals, then we would be best to hold off on doing that until we have something that we think will be permanent for at least the next couple of years.
Yeah. So it's kind of I started the conversation, I guess, really looking, introducing Fun Day in the project. But all of these questions are all, considerations that we have to take. And the problem, I think, Zach, is what you're stating, is that it is challenging with what we have today. One, the visual, the asset itself, the mark, and the way that it's used, the way the flexibility it provides, and the inconsistency part of the way it's being used today. So we're going to need to help drive that, and the opportunity is there that as we do that, kind of revisit and make sure that it's an optimal mark. And we're just talking the mark now, but again, we would be looking at a broader just design system for ourselves, just to upgrade what we have today. So that's also part of the project.
I will say that I think both ways are valid because a new logo would definitely separate the EOS community from B1. But if you or we all want to keep the logo, if, for example, B1 just sends lawsuits and say the ENF funds a defense against those lawsuits, and then that makes into media coverage, that would I think B1 would look like the bad guy there. and it would also like underline that EOS is separate. Like something Jack Bites mentioned earlier. Like the perception is that B1 is still EOS, and if they sue like people for using the logo, and like there's a lot of support of those people because actually we the community feel like we're EOS, not them. Maybe they could still win, but it would definitely prove to pretty much the world that the EOS has become a new entity separate from B1. Or like even so, if that's already the case, like with ENF, this sort of conflict wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, I think.
To do that would be going backwards on just like the last 18 months. Like we communicated it to like EOS support and other people who run some of these community groups. That's why like you'll notice if you go through like the icon in the Discord channel, the icon in the EOS chat on Telegram, the new EOS chat on Telegram, a lot of them have switched to the original logo. So like there was already like a shift. So to shift back to the modern one just to give a middle finger to B1 is like extra work. And I also just want to be clear that it's not only the copyright. The copyright and trademark is just one component to it. Another thing is just how it looks next to other logos. So we've seen our mark now, both the ENF and EOS, next to other brands, and especially gaming brands that are like loud and colorful. It's just, we look weak, like visually weak, next to these more bold, prominent marks. So there's also that factor of it all. Also, it's not strictly legal issues. And the target demographic of blockchain gaming, GameFi, that market, the current color scheme of EOS is black and white. So it's not ideal.
Hey Marco, I had to mute you there earlier, but if you wanted to share your thoughts there, I've unmuted you.
I lost the speaker. I don't know. I couldn't hear him talking. But I just had another thought. Will the new logo be available for the community to use?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, one of the assumptions going into the project is the idea that that it could be used by the community, right? And sorry, I didn't go upstairs. But the assumption is a lot of the work that the community's done and taking the chestahedron and personalizing it, right? I love that, and I think that gives it, some. So, anyways, yes, it will. Sorry, I'm out of breath. It will be something that we look at and is part of the assumptions as we build the brand. How can we give the community tooling so that they can also help, be the owner and personalize that.
Yeah, that was one of the things I've really enjoyed about the chestahedron as it's been applied through some of the brands that are using it, like what you see in the EOS Nation logo, and EOS Rio kind of really took it and created this whole interior, like they made it into a palette and then filled it out. And I like that aspect of the shape when it's employed in that way. So it is nice that there's that much kind of like community flavor being brought to this.
Yeah, my
One thing
initial
too.
reaction was to keep the old logo. That was my initial reaction. But that's not considering any, design considerations and how that logo looks on various sizes and backgrounds and all that. And I think from the answers we've heard so far, I would think a majority is leaning towards having a new visual identity, which is interesting. I probably would would not have guessed that actually if you would have asked me to guess before, which is interesting, and it's great that everyone's sharing their feedback here. Really, really awesome.
And I would say, like, it's we're kicking off this project, and stew on it, think about it. we'll come back and share progression around that. But there is a lot to be considered. I mean, just in this like 45 minutes, thinking through those elements are all important, and part of the process is really to be thoughtful about the change and not just put something out. So.
As Zack mentioned earlier, for the GameFi audience, couldn't there just be like something unique for that? And if it becomes so popular and EOS is known as the gaming blockchain, then would be even more cause for the new logo to take over. So instead of just snap your fingers and it changes, like the most successful, like a very successful aspect of EOS, kind of becomes the dominant logo.
Well,
Yeah, we
I
did
mean,
talk about this as well. In the case of Zack, talking about Ether and Ethereum and having the branded house. So that idea that everything under Ethereum is kind of built, all the brands and businesses and the products and services under that brand really support that master brand ETH. So there's some flavoring that is different, but really it really supports that same master brand. In a case of a house of brands, like think about Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola having different multiple brands underneath them as a business. So each of those brands hit a certain audience, Mountain Dew, let's say, right? So they have a whole different experience, look and feel, audience, and those kinds of things there. So there's a structure that allows that to happen as well. And we could explore both. It's launching and managing multiple brands can get costly, but again, thinking about how we lean in and how we best position ourselves in that market, that could be something else that is considered.
Let's hear it, Nathan. I want to hear Nathan chime in. Enough of these funny comments.
No mic.
No mic. Oh. Well, send your message telepathically then.
And another thing, like thinking back through other projects, is I don't know if other people agree with this. Is it seems like when Steam had parted ways with and turned into Hive, them having that different name. I don't know if they had a different logo too. It seemed like that event has been more publicized than the split with Block One and EOS. So maybe a name change or a logo change would be able to signify that a little bit.
All right, great feedback, everyone. I'm sure we'll talk about this again on future firesides. Gonna give it one last chance for anyone if anyone wants to drop a final comment, and if not, we're gonna keep the show moving because we've got lots of topics to get to and some people that can't stay forever.
Joshua is asking what's up with the name change. There's no name change, Joshua. We're just talking about the logo.
All right, so let's leave it there for now. If you've got more thoughts and comments, we can always circle back later on in the show during the open mic section at the end of the show. But for now, let's keep it going. I'd like to invite Andrew to introduce Spyglass to us.
Sure. How's my audio and my mic?
Coming in clear, Andrew.
Okay, cool. I was worried I may be robotic, but I'm glad to hear. Yeah, so my name's Andrew Ware. I'm the writer as well as product owner for EOS Nation. And what we have been working on is a project called Spyglass. Spyglass is a monitoring tool for Antelope-based blockchains. It collects transaction traces to track unconfirmed blockchain transactions and the node operators, nodes, and accounts that send and process them. A transaction trace, by the way, is a record that a node on an Antelope network generates when it processes a transaction. It includes transaction data, any errors that occurred during processing, as well as the final state of the transaction. And each node that processes a transaction produces a transaction trace unique to that node and unique to that transaction. And for Spyglass, we collect those. Let's see, we've got if you check out, I don't know if Steph put a link in there.
Share the link, share the screenshot.
Excelente. So if you follow that link, you can check out the homepage. We call it the Discover page. It just shows at-a-glance data about the blockchain Spyglass monitors, which currently consists of EOS, WAX, and Talos. Click on a network, and you can go to the Inspect page and view data about the network. One thing to note is that statistics like success rate are not indications of the integrity of the network, but rather indications of how many people are sending failed transactions on the network. EOS, for example, has lots of arbitrage bots that send tons of buy and sell orders, most of which fail, but the few that are successful make it a profitable venture. And thus you'll see EOS's success rate looks lower than the other ones. That's not a reflection of the network itself. It's a reflection of the activity on the network. If you're looking for more details on a particular transaction, you can enter a transaction ID into the search bar, and it'll search our record of the last 24 hours of transaction traces for a matching transaction ID. If it finds the transaction, it will take you to a transaction history page where you can find all of the transaction traces for a particular transaction. And they both pages return all transaction traces and display them in chronological order. I believe reverse chronological order. You can also enter an account name, which will bring you to the search bar for records matching that account. Selecting the account will bring you to the Inspect Account page, where you can view statistics and transaction traces related to the account. However, one note on this particular feature, Nodio software currently only tracks a transaction's first authorizer. So if users are utilizing Gray Mass Fuel or Pomelo CPU or another resource provider, their transactions will be categorized under that resource provider. And unfortunately, we were sort of looking at ways to get around that, and it's currently not feasible given current logging features. But we'll see in the future. One thing I would like to highlight, Spyglass is a project that was developed with help and collaboration from the ENF and the Antelope Core development team. More specifically, it was made possible by new logging features in Leap version 3.1. And I think it's important to highlight, too, the level of transparency and collaboration our team has had with the ENF dev team, both in delivering and improving upon these logging features. They incorporated some suggestions that we made into the new 4.0 release that will be coming out. And future versions of the software are likely to bring even more improvements, like moving the Gelf logger to a different thread, including more error details and transaction traces, those sorts of things. We encountered a few issues during development that sort of pushed it back a little bit in terms of the release. In particular, we found our initial choice of Redis was ill-equipped for the sheer amount of data we were throwing at it. For context, with just a handful of nodes sending logs, we're already receiving hundreds of thousands of transactions per minute. We eventually switched to Elasticsearch for our backend, and while it's not as fast as a Redis database would have been, at least it works. So this means that we are ready to receive logs from other node operators. By node operators, I am referring to block producers, as well as API node operators, and other people or entities running Antelope blockchain nodes. Many thanks to Boyd and Generios for setting up their nodes for testing our system and providing another source of logs. If you are a node operator and you or your team would like to send us logs, feel free to get in contact and we can provide instructions and any necessary parameters you'll need to add. The team is looking forward to the ways people can use this tool to help with their transaction issues. This is the first release, so we are looking for input as to how to improve our tools. So feel free to contact me on Discord, DrewBlock, or on Telegram, at Ursa Polaris if you'd like to share any input. At that, I'm happy to answer any questions or clarifications. Oh, before I do that, though, I forgot I need to shout out my team. Many thanks to Samuel Papineau, who's also got the Discord bot going there, as well as Dominic Fournier and Charles Moran, who they were the dev team, and I was acting as the product owner. So we worked together to deliver the product, but really, it's they were the ones truly doing the down and dirty work.
All right, Andrew, thanks for that great introduction. Real quickly here, which users are going to be most helped by this tool?
That's a good question. The tool is it has applications for all sorts of users. If I could think just off the top of my head, I can imagine a use case for example, dApp developers. One thing that can happen if you're developing dApps, if you don't sort of design your checks properly, you can end up running into some issues with what's called subjective billing. And oftentimes you're not going to know that you're getting hit with subjective billing. You're just going to notice that your transactions don't appear on the blockchain. So this will allow someone who is working on a decentralized application to check and see, oh, all of my users' transactions are getting lost because they're not making their way eventually to the block producer because some nodes are failing the transactions for subjective billing. And it gets kind of complicated. I don't want to go into too many details, but one of the other big things that we're targeting is providing information to the Antelope core development team, because this is sort of the result of unpriced externalities on the EOS blockchain. And so the team is sort of subjective billing was introduced to try and improve that. We've also got the 3 strike rule. Those items are essentially ways to prevent overuse of an uncharged, or I don't know if that's the right word, but a free resource. So people are trying to take advantage of free resource. This allows people to limit that. But the benefit is when you send a transaction on EOS and you forgot to put the right account name in there, you don't get charged for it.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
That answers my question. Anyone else from the crowd here wants to jump in, ask a question of Andrew? Maybe
I think
you
we're
guys
talking
want
about the target audience. I think Aaron says it well. Power users, and then we had Austin Powers and Chuck Norris. But yeah, the hardcore power users will definitely use that. I mean, I use it, so let's say I would put myself in the power user category. When you're trying to troubleshoot a really complicated transaction or just a behavior of an account that has, let's say you have a 5% of your transactions that are failing, but you don't know why they're failing, whether it's CPU or is it subjective billing. This tool will help you kind of detect the things that don't even make it on chain. So if you have a failed transaction, if it's failed, it never goes on chain. So how do you see a failed transaction if it never actually goes on chain? This tool shows you that information. So yeah, it's really useful for those hardcore power users, let's say.
Daniel Keys sharing an interesting perspective as well. So indirectly says the user who benefits the most is all of us. So as the power users troubleshoot their issues with lost transactions, they provide feedback to the core devs, the general state of the network improves, which really flows down to all of the users using the network having a better experience. Nice comment,
For sure.
Daniel.
Yeah, that's definitely on top there. So by not actually using it, you're benefiting from it because someone else is using it. That will troubleshoot your future problem.
That's what I like to hear.
One of the reasons we put some priority behind building this thing was heading into the launch of EVM. We're like, hey, we're going to have a whole new group of people joining this network. We better make sure that the network is a good experience for them all, and that its transactions are flowing no matter, as the demand on the network increases. And you can think of Spyglass as a diagnostic tool to help identify the gaps that we need to improve to make sure that there's a good experience as more and more users join this network.
One additional touch of flavor that I can add is you can, we as a Spyglass team can already see how our tool has been helping people, because if you look at the Wax network, they frequently experience issues with, for example, gaming bots who will be doing a ton of transactions one after the other. Our tool allows people on the Wax network to essentially open up the most recent transactions, and they'll see failed. And they can find the account that's doing that, and then they can graylist or blacklist that account. So it either has fewer resources or it just straight up can't send transactions to whichever block producers have enabled that. So it's already been providing ways for the Wax blockchain to kind of improve their reliability, and hopefully it can do it for other blockchains as well.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Andrew, for that update.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on to some Pomelo updates. So before we get into today's speed dating pitch sessions, actually we got a comment from the community through the community comment form. So I just wanted to address that with Yves, actually, while Yves is still with us. I hope he still is.
No, I'm not.
No, Yves is not here anymore. So let me just find that question and read it out, and just like to get your thoughts, Yves, on this question. So the question that was submitted by someone anonymous, he suggests to eliminate Pomelo's system of reviewing projects, and all projects applied for are strictly evaluated and reviewed by the EOS Network Foundation, which strictly evaluates the amount of funds allocated to the submitted projects according to the project's development progress. This user claims that currently at least 95% of the projects on Pomelo are designed to cheat for matching funds, and he hopes to draw the attention of the EOS network to this issue. So wondering if you had some thoughts on this comment and line of thinking, Yves.
Sure. So for anonymous user, he or she, we do have a system whereby the EOS Network Foundation strictly evaluates the amount of funds allocated to the submitted project according to the project's development progress. It's called the grant framework. And so we do have multiple funding pathways. I've coined these in the past, directed funding and indirect funding. Pomelo is an indirect funding path. And so the idea behind it is to give that flexibility to the wisdom of the crowd. And we have seen the crowd make decisions over time. Think of every season essentially kind of as a milestone, as an opportunity for the community to review. And as we go through more seasons, we are starting to see trends and patterns around which projects are being funded, and some that historically maybe were in the high graces of the community and then dropped out of graces of the community, so to speak. And as we do more and more seasons, and more tools are being added in Pomelo to facilitate community feedback, leverage, etc. And there's a bunch of other tools that'll be coming out to facilitate that. We are seeing that wisdom in the crowd play out. Luckily, we have Gitcoin as well to compare to, because obviously it's based off of Gitcoin. We got a lot of the help from the Gitcoin team at the time when that Pomelo was created, in terms of inspiration and such. Direct feedback from them, their learnings, etc. We have all of their data. We're able to see that this indirect funding path is a mechanism that does leverage the community, and it does empower the community, and it's quite useful. And so I guess it's not a question, but the recommendation of shutting down, thank you, but no, Pomelo is doing what it is designed to do in the way that it's designed to do. And obviously it's improving season over season. We're already seeing that. We're already seeing some benefits of some policy changes that have been made. On the other Sorry, I'm trying to find who's on the other side of things. So the recommendation of the foundation essentially reviewing one by one projects, we do have that path. As I mentioned, we have the grant framework, and we're also improving on that front in terms of the time it takes to review projects and the application projects and the size of projects, and how we're directing the funds and kind of what we're encouraging and such. And so having both of these run in parallel actually amplifies more, I believe, based on what we've seen and what we've seen from other networks, than simply having one or the other. And so both are quite complementary. You can kind of look at them as two sides of the same coin. One is the community that really leverages their wisdom and decides where funds are being applied. And the other one is a very centralized entity, which obviously there's decentralization throughout that process because of the different levels of application within the grant framework, but still very centralized as an approach. Both of them are very complementary to one another.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Yves, for that answer. And thank you to the community member who submitted the question. I wanted to make sure to address this question at the top of the show while Yves is still here. Show you guys that when you do submit questions through that form, we will address them on the show, and we'll try to get the person that's most relevant to the question to answer it for you guys. So I encourage you, if you're listening on the replay, find the form in the comments below and submit some questions or comments or topics for us to discuss. We appreciate it. All right, here we go. Pomelo speed dating pitch session on the Fireside chat. Let's get it going. So if you're a grant owner and you want to pitch your grant, you're going to have 30 seconds to do your pitch. I encourage you to get your grant link ready so you can share it in the chat. And other than that, let's see some number ones in the chat. If you're a grant owner that wants to present today, I'm going to copy the list as we see them rolling in, and going to try to invite you guys in that order. And of course, we've got the first answer, a troll. A troll is trying to screw us over with these speed dating. I don't think Yves is the grant owner, unless I'm mistaken, and Yves has submitted a grant to Pomelo that I haven't noticed yet. Or maybe
No,
I'm just kick us off.
I just want to kick us off, and I just wanted to attract the attention. Everybody who speed states today, I just kind of screw up that grammar. I will donate a certain amount of EOS too. So if you're here in this chat, you get EOS no matter what. So get on the mic, do your 30 seconds. I'm going to take notes. Even if I've already donated to you, I will donate again a certain amount.
There you go. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to invite our first respondents, DJ Strikanova, to the stage for your 30-second Pomelo pitch.
Hey everyone, I'm DJ Strikanova, active member of FECDAO and the NFT Content Index and Search. The goal is scan all the NFTs on the blockchain, starting with EOS, use AI models from Hugging Face to scan them, figure out, what's in the image, and then create, some sort of front-end website tool where you could search it all and find exactly the type of NFTs that suits your tastes. Whether you want to find dogs or pink dogs or pink dogs wearing a hat or doing a dance, you can do any of that. Thank you.
All right, with a couple seconds left to spare.
And I do appreciate, if you're going to speak, if you put your link in the chat, it will help me out. So thank you, DJ Strikanova, and upcoming participants.
There you go. NFT Indexer from DJ Strikanova. Thank you. All right, next up in the chat, we had Drew Block. And just so you know, your 30 seconds will start when you start speaking. Andrew?
There we go.
Still with us?
Yeah, sorry, I needed to unmute there.
There you go. Okay, have at it.
All right, so my Pomelo project is called the Polaris Music Graph, and the basic idea is it's a way to look at music and browse through music in a way that gives more information to the listener. So it was inspired by browsing Wikipedia, seeing, oh my God, did you know that Dave Grohl not only played in Nirvana and the Foo Fighters, but was also a member of Nine Inch Nails? And Taylor
All right,
Hawkins.
thank you very much, Andrew, for your
Oh, that was good.
30-second pitch.
Thank you. Oh, let me.
I will be ruthless with the timer.
I appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Andrew.
I'm not even sure what I'm donating to now.
Too bad. You promised.
Too bad.
Send that money.
Oh, it is in my catalog. I'm just, hey, for people upcoming, you've got 30 seconds. At least tell me what I'm going to be donating to.
There you go. Some tips from Yves on your 30-second pitches. All right. Next up, we've got John from Boyd. Welcome to the Fireside. Let's hear the pitch.
Hey everyone, we have a new version of Boyd called Boyd Frontier that you can support. We also have a IBC gateway called Antelope X that you can support, and also, of course, the classic EOS Power Up you can donate to. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John.
Caveat, when some people have two, I'm going to donate to one. John, I'd already donated to one of your two. So caveat for the others, if you have 7 pitches, which I think is outside the norm, but I'm only going to pick one.
Yeah, you can also run twice. 30 seconds per grant I think is fine, although appreciate John getting 3 grants in like 10 seconds. That's some efficiency there. And we see the links in the chat. Awesome. Thank you, John. All right, next up to the Pomelo speed dating pitch session, I'd like to invite Jesse from the Bees to talk to us about his grant.
Hey everyone, in our grant, we are offering swarms. Swarms is a way to increase the social sentiment statistics on EOS, which may be correlated with market cap. More swarms you donate, the more we can increase those stats. Thanks everyone.
All right, thank you, Jesse. Thank you all of the Bees. Let's make sure you share that link in the chat, Jesse. There it is, grants /EOSBees. All right, next up we've got Marco. Let's hear it.
W3briefs.com. Have you found blockchain to be slow, tedious? How about a month in minutes, years in not much longer? Want more links? We'll take it back to the news as it happens, events unfolded, and over 100,000 words if you keep going. Or visit the timeline link that's there, getting EOS from the beginning to our awaiting EVM. And thanks.
Right on the money, 30 seconds. Thank you, Marco, for the pitch, and good luck with your grant called EOS Galaxy. All right, next up, we've got Chase. Welcome to the Fireside once again.
Hello, this is Chase from Challenge Stack, and at Challenge Stack, we are a decentralized social network, and what we do is we allow people to post crypto bounties, and then we allow people to unlock those bounties by fulfilling the instructions. And what we are proposing for this season of Pomelo is whatever funds we get, we're going to use that to post challenges and give out rewards for people who create EOS content, Pomelo content, to help educate the community and get our name and brand out there.
All right, thank you very much, Chase, and good luck with your grant. And remember to share the link in the chat. All right, Dario, I see you've posted for 2 grants. That's fine. Let's hear from your first, and we'll come back for your second in a little bit.
Assist the EOS community in making informed decisions on Pomelo. EOS Support has introduced EOS Audit. EOS Audit provides a comprehensive review and analysis of Pomelo projects, their updates, and their progress. We now have a new form set up where the EOS community can recommend grants to be analyzed. The link is in the chat. Your donation makes a difference in bringing accountability to the EOS community. We appreciate your support. Kindly continue to donate our Pomelo grant via pomelo.io/grants/audit. Thank you.
2 seconds.
Appreciate if the links could actually be links to the Pomelo page. Appreciate if the links could be links to the actual Pomelo page. I am trying to get everybody in without missing anybody. And there's 2, and I can't find the second one.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to Dario's second pitch in just a bit. For now, we learned about the EOS audit pitch, which I'm sure Dario will share the link, and there it is, grants fund / audit. All right, Hernan, we'll get you in the list. Next up on the list, we had Bishop with a grant. I don't know if these are some of the same grants as Dario, but Bishop, welcome to the Fireside. Let's hear about your grant.
Hi, it's for EOS Support, yes. So EOS Support is a community-led non-profit organization dedicated to providing support to the EOS community and also to companies, exchanges, and organizations seeking to leverage our ecosystem. We have a website with 24/7 free live support for EOS users, create guides and news articles for them in 9 languages, and always seek to do more to empower our community with a seamless onboarding experience. We are determined to offer many services that will produce value for this ecosystem. We launched EOS Respect, EOS Audit, and EOS Synergy to that end. We cannot continue this journey without the community's support, and we are thankful for the vote of confidence. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bishop, for talking to us about the EOS support grant. All right, next up, we've got a world record attempt coming up here with Aaron from Grey Mass. Aaron, what is your pitch?
We're looking to put Anchor into as many languages as possible. More people.
Three seconds.
That's awesome.
Well done,
That's awesome.
Sir. Well done.
Probably could have been better.
Will someone attempt to break this record? Stay tuned and find out. All right, next up, we've got Mudman. If you want to join us on stage and tell us about your grant.
Hello, my name's Evan. I'm an artist from Telos Culture. We're big supporters of Pomelo. We recently published a zine featuring major news from across the Antelope ecosystem. We also kind of touch on some lore, Antelore as we call it, and we're welcoming everyone to donate to our future issues and to read it. The first one is just out as of today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mudman. Thanks for joining us.
Can I get the name of that one again, please? Because I don't see the link. And for those who are not speaking right now, if you could not post your things until you speak. You're really trying to screw me up here.
So my man.
And what's going to happen is I'm going to miss somebody, and I'm not trying to miss somebody.
Great grant name Antelore. Love it.
Is it possible that the Antelope Chronicle, the Antelore zine, is under review, Munman, and so I cannot donate to it right now? It seems
it should be out very soon. Here is a link to the actual zine, though, if you'd like to read it.
I would. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, and good luck on that approval process. Hopefully, you get approved. Okay, who else do we have here? We've got myself, actually. Let me find a link, share it, and start the timer for myself. All right, please support The Hot Sauce. The Hot Sauce is the longest running EOS news show in the ecosystem. We've been doing it for 4 years, started as a written publication, then it became a pre-recorded video. Now we're doing it live for the fans. You get all of the EOS news recap in 20 minutes or less, out there on YouTube, out there on all the social media platforms. It's a great way to stay up to date. For those of you who don't have 2 hours to hang out with us every Wednesday, you can do it in 20 minutes on Friday.
Disclaimer, I cannot donate to that one because I'm essentially a shareholder of that one indirectly until we add that function that I requested. So, Steph, I'm not going to donate to that one.
But thank you for your verbal support anyways, if that's what this is.
It is.
All right. Okay, cool. Dario, did you want to come back and do your second grant for us? There we go. Grant name, Learn to Earn. Let's hear it.
The goal with EOS Support's Learn and Earn project is to make it easier for people to join the EOS ecosystem and accelerate the adoption. By creating hundreds of how-to articles and spreading awareness of the EOS ecosystem, we want to encourage people to get engaged. And the key to make this happen is rewards. By offering rewards for learning and completing missions, can facilitate the process of promoting EOS more widely and attracting new users to the ecosystem. Thank you.
So, Steph, I would like, I'm 20 minutes late for another meeting. So whoever hasn't done and is going to continue this speed dating, Steph, if you could please keep the list of the people as of now, and I'll donate later. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Yves. Have a good meeting. All right, AVM here, letting me know we got more people to pitch in round one. I'm not sure if this is what you mean round one, but yeah, we're not done. And leave a number one in the chat if I've missed you so far. We've still got a couple from Hernan. We got Willow on the list. AVM will add you as well. Okay, so for now, let's hear from Hernan. I think you've got 2 grants. You can share with us one of them and come back in a bit for your second one, Hernan.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Starter DAO, what was previously EOS Starter, I'm trying to build the premium launchpad for projects on EOS to have everyone every project launch their token successfully. And I need the community's help. And that's why we're building Starter DAO as a community-led project. And I appreciate all of your support. So thank you for helping me build this.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Hernan, for doing the pitch with us today. We'll come back to you in a bit. All right, next up, I'll invite Willow to the stage.
Okay, I hope I'm coming in loud and clear.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, Willow.
All right. So EOS Nigeria aims to take EOS blockchain to every Nigerian's doorstep, making use of the Nigerian pidgin language. Thank you for your support so far.
All right, thank you, Willow, for this pitch. And I'm just going to reshare the link to your grant here in the chat. I'm going to take a note of it so that Yves can donate to your grant later. All right, next up, I'd like to invite AVM to the stage.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, we can hear you. What is your Pomelo grant?
Yeah, right now I'd like to pitch you for Antelope Assets Collection Grant. The target of the grant is to provide open source collection of media assets related to the Antelope, aka EOSIO chains. It will be great developer tool or source to provide public data directly from the GitHub, including the chains, info in logos, token info in logos, wallet info in logos, and many more, and so on. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you very much. Please post your link. There we go.
Posted.
Grant name Antelope COL. Excellent. So if anyone's listening in here and they'd like to donate to all these grants, I'm going to be compiling the list of all the grants of people that have pitched here, and maybe I'll create a collection on Pomelo after this. After the fireside's over, so anyone who wants to donate to all of these pitches, you'll be able to do that very easily with just one click through that collection. All right, AVM, did you have another grant that you want to present? Maybe I'll put you back on the list. If you have.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put you back on the list. Great. All right, next up we've got Veronica with EOS Vision. Veronica, did you want to say a little something, or would you like me to read the text that you posted in the chat? I'm fine with either of these.
I can translate too, si quieres, pero.
30-second pitch and translation. Sounds like a fun challenge. All right, maybe I'll just read out the text here that Veronica shared. So Veronica says, without a doubt, this Pomelo is hotter than ever and we are enjoying the best projects, but we want to see ours. EOS Vision is in charge of supporting and moderating the official EOS Reddit, which is undoubtedly a very large contribution from EOS users. We are currently showing what a new proposal is. Do not hesitate to support us. Our team would really appreciate. We work to make EOS and its community a great place. Check out our proposal here. So that's Veronica's proposal at /EOS Vision. Thank you, Veronica, and best of luck this season. All right, lots of messages. We like it. Next up, I'd like to invite Haza to talk to us about his grant.
Hello, I am the host of the EOS Nudge. This is the newest Web3 learning platform sponsored by the EOS support. This show is said to be the main source of EOS news for new users, as well as a helpful networking tool for project owners. Its growing community helps the invited projects find synergies and new ways for them to collaborate. At the same time, we reward the users' participation through giveaways. It's a new entertaining way to boost our global EOS community and their projects. By donating to our grant, you support the education, onboarding of new users, and add visibility of various EOS projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Haza, and please share the link in the chat. There we go. I think it's coming right now. All right, we've got next up. I'd like to invite David B to talk to us about his Pomelo grant.
Hi everyone. Good evening. Indeed, I would like to pitch my grant, which is to create the integration with Hugging Face in order to do data augmentation and create a new use case for the Hugging Face community to help train their models through human-powered data annotation system.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for joining and sharing your grant named Data Set. All right. Let's see. All right. I think AVM, if you want to come back on and talk about your second grant, you can do that.
Yeah, so the second grant is called New Chat. Link in the chat. The grant is targeting to provide a decentralized application, open source code, decentralized application with open source code for messaging on the chain. So the users will be able to send the messages in the public or the private way, directly on the chain or in organized format, and also support the sending files using the chain and many more things.
Thank you, AVM. Yeah, for anyone joining us, you can just drop a note in the chat, drop a 1, tag me, something like that, and we'll get you up on the list. All right, looks like Patrick is jonesing to get up here. Patrick, come on to the stage and talk to us about your grant.
Oh, wow. Not even 50 flash person. Say you don't wait like 5 minutes.
Yeah, hello, Stephane, thank you.
Willow,
and there is someone else is speaking. Someone else is speaking, so you
hold
can
on, Patrick, hold on.
mute him.
Willow,
maybe.
we can't really hear you. If you want to wait, we'll invite you back on stage in a little bit. For now, I'd like to hear from Patrick.
Thank you very much, Stephane. So I put the link here and I go. So MindWeb on Pomelo Season 5 is build online collaborative Web3 solution more. And there is 5 deliverables. The first deliverable is about a MindWeb cockpit and on-chain EOS proof of stat. That's the continuation of the cockpit of the bees and improve for the blockchain EOS. Then a MindWeb Pomelo collection mind map amplified with all the collection links in it everyone can send the links to this mind map. Then we have a MindWeb transaction DeFi box checker service. And you can watch all the grant. Thank you.
You're going a bit overboard here, but thank you for sharing your MindWeb grant with us.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next up, Dan Singjoy. We are taking bets on whether he will go over the 30 seconds or not. I'm going all in on the over. Dan, welcome to the stage.
Cool. Sounds great. Thank you, Stephane. Thank you, everybody. I'll try to keep it short. So I do have some exciting things. So one, I have the Eden Creators Pomelo grant to help people cooperate with fractal consensus games. We're doing great work
one
checking
grant
out.
at a time.
Okay, sounds good. I have a couple others that I'll share maybe later if I get a chance. But yep, that's there, and you can check out that link where you can find out all the videos from Eden Fractal and a bunch of other great content at edencreators.com. Also, I created a Eden Fractal Pomelo collection with about 15 grants from a bunch of great builders in the community. And we actually had a Pomelo pitch session today at the Eden Fractal meeting, 41st meeting, and we're planning, I think, doing it again next week if people want to join and share. And then lastly, I have a Fractal episode coming out on Friday, I believe, a sequel to last season where I did a Christmas episode, planning to sing some Irish songs and give it 100 EOS and live stream. So sounds good. And I have two other grants too that I can share perhaps later if I get a chance as well. But thank you very much.
On the list for those
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for your pitch.
Thank you, Stephane. Thank you, everybody.
One thing, I guess, good time to just do a little plug for our regular pitch sessions that are happening on Twitter or on some Asian platforms. For those of you who want to pitch in Chinese to the Chinese and Korean community, there's translators. You don't need to know those languages to join those pitch sessions. And for other communities, other community members, such as Dan, that said they hosted a pitch session today on their Fractal Town Hall. That's great. Please let us know if you're hosting your own Pomelo pitch session. We'd love to retweet that, share the news from our Pomelo account, of course, and also add those grants to our season 5 pitch session collection. So I'm going to be doing the speed dating here collection, but Martin is also doing a collection for all of the grants that show up to the other pitch sessions. So let us know if you're doing pitch sessions as a community member. We'll help promote it, and we'll try to include those grants in our collections. All right. See, we've got some more people signing up to the speed dating. I like it. Okay, next up we've got Jorn from if you want to join us and pitch your grant. Are you still
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, there we go. Welcome to Fireside.
Fantastic, thank you. Hi, I'm Björn from the Lost Diamond Grant in Norway. The hunt for the Lost Diamond has started. YouTube shorts are published every second day, but we need financial muscles and donations to make it go viral. Thank you for supporting our grant, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Great pitch, great 10-second pitch. Make sure you share the link in the chat below. All right, next up, Willow. I don't know if you want to come back on stage. Your mic was very low when you were trying to speak earlier, so please maybe try to speak up a bit if you have a second grant to pitch. If not, we're going to move on. Who else here? I think, is that maybe it? Did we get everyone? I guess Dancing Joy, welcome back. You can talk to us about another pitch. Oh, I see JG Kim also has one. We'll get to Kim after Dan.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And I see Rosemary also hit type 1 too. So it just type in the number 1, and then I'll go on the list because she has one as well. The next one that I'll share, thank you, Stephane, is the Eden Town Hall. So I've been hosting the Eden Town Hall since mid last year, and I've hosted over 40 meetings. These are collaborative space where everybody can join. Everybody's welcome to have great discussions, as well as we make video shows each week too. So it's a great way to promote work. I encourage everybody to join and share what you're doing, and I'm happy to help promote your work. We have a bunch of great episodes on the Pomelo pitch there and at edentownhall.com or edentownhall.com/episodes, where you can see all the recent episodes. and funding is super, super helpful. I'm kind of behind on sharing these because I could really use some help funding to hire help and so forth. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dan. Good luck with your grant.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got Rosemary wants to join us, share her grant. Welcome to the Fireside.
Oh, can you hear me well?
Yeah, a bit low, but we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hi everyone, my name is Rosemary. I'm new to the EOS in Nederland and just been around for a month and a half. I'm a social media manager and I'm deeply excited and thrilled to find out more about Web3. So what I did was I created a Pomelo pitch on Community Stories, which is a podcast, and my first guest is Dan Sigjoy. So I'll share the link in the for YouTube so you can check it out. And it's Pomelo.io grants community. And it's all about communities and innovation and Web3 and games and how we can more work with each other and come closer as one.
All right, thank you, Rosemary, for that pitch. I gave you an extra 10 seconds since you're new to the community, you're new to Pomelo. We love to hear it. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, good luck with your pitch. Make sure to share the link. There it is. Thank you, DJ
Right.
Striker Nova, coming in clutch with those grant links. All right, Dan Singjoy, I think you've got a third one you'd like to pitch for us today.
Yes, I do. Thank you. And by the way, the Eden Creators one is the only one that's live right now. I just published the town hall and the creator talk just last night. So I'm hoping that those will get approved. I think they will. So I just shared that. This is Creator Talk podcast, which I am hosting, doing discussions with a bunch of great creators, talking about collaboration and so forth. This one, you can check out the first episode from last Pomelo season with Tadas, talking about Eden plus Fractal. We had an awesome episode, and I'm really excited to continue this more. I've been working on the branding, and I'm planning on doing lots more episodes soon. And also, this is a resource too. If people are interested in promoting their work, then feel free to reach out. And I'm happy to help promote your work on both Creator Talk and Town Hall with different kinds of formats and environments and so forth. And I hope everybody enjoys. If you haven't checked it out yet, the first episode with Tadas is awesome. So thank you very much.
Definitely went over on that one, but you're lucky I forgot to start the timer. So
Yes.
But no,
Thanks.
that's great. That's great, Dan. Thank you for those pitches, and yeah, best of luck. All right.
Thank you.
Did we get to everyone? I think we did. If there's anyone that I haven't gotten to yet, please speak up. Maybe Hernan. Did we hear about Hernan twice? Maybe not for the Web3
No,
Creators
I'm
Pod?
missing the podcast.
There you go. All right, Hernan. Welcome back.
All right. Yes. Let me just get the link before you start the timer.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sure.
Where are you? Got it. Okay. So, hey guys, I am opening the Antelope Spotlight at the Web3 Creators Podcast. My latest episode with Rami from Ultra. You can check it out. It was a very insightful episode. We talked not only games, but we also discussed how B1 squandered basically Scatter as a great wallet that we had back then. So I invite you to check it out. And please support the podcast. I am opening the spotlight for everyone in the Antelope ecosystem, especially EOS friends, to come on to the show and chat with me for the community.
Awesome, Hernan. Thanks for sharing and good luck with your grant. Love to see a lot of podcast and then content creation shows grants up in there. All right. Next up, we've got GJ Kim with the EOS DAO grant. If you want to come on stage, let us know what this is all about.
Hello everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm JJ Kim. I'm Korean in South Korea. Our project is to build the EOS DAO platform through the introduction and verification of the EOS DAO participating in the EOS ecosystem. We help anybody develop similar domains easily through providing open source regarding verification service. I hope you're interested in our project and crowdfunding through Pomelo. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you very much, and good luck this season with Pomelo.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff, guys. I think we got everyone. If we've got some late joiners, feel free to just let me know in the chat. You want to do your pitch, we can get to you later. Almost 80 people in the Fireside chat. Love it. And then on top of that, we probably got more viewers live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Very popular time in the EOS community, of course, when we're in the thick of it for these Pomelo seasons. Love to see all the activity that this generates among all the social media platforms that we're on. This is great. Esteban, I see you're in the chat. I don't think you did a pitch. Did you want to come on, do a Pomelo pitch for us? Dwayne, I see Dwayne's in the chat. Does Dwayne have a Pomelo grant up this season? I'm not sure. Who else here do we have? We got Bywire. We got Michael from Bywire in the chat. I don't think we've heard from him yet. Looks like that's kind of it. Maybe Tiago's got some grants as well. He wants to jump in here. Let me know.
Yes, we do.
We're up to like 25 grants or so that have pitched so far. That's great. Love the turnout. Rosemary is asking what the deadline for submissions. So I think applications are still open until the end of the day today. Maybe Daniel could confirm that for us. At the same time, maybe Daniel has some other Pomelo Season 5 updates he wants to share with us.
Hey. I'm doing some community support in the background, so just want to make sure I understand the question right. The question is it true that today is the last day to submit a grant?
That is the question.
Okay, so yes, that's correct. Today is the last day to submit the grant. Depending on where you are in the world, it might technically be tomorrow. Essentially, it's the last hour of the last time zone on the 15th. Today's the 15th, which translates to 12 UTC on the 16th, technically. So there's still some time to submit it, but I wouldn't wait, because keep in mind, if you end up in, if there's some feedback on your grant, if we don't approve it immediately, you want to leave some time for us to review it, send it back for a second round. And if you wait till the last minute to submit it, you won't get an opportunity to do a second round on updating to the grants. And thank you, Michael, for sharing my interview there. Cool. Yeah, check that out. I had fun chatting on Bywire about Season 5 and the changes and some new rules and things like that. So definitely check that out. I can share some the latest stats on how we're doing on Pomelo this season. Wow, there's been a bunch of donations coming in during the rapid fire, so I'm gonna have to pull a fresh report here. Let's see what my bot says here.
Love to hear it. Thanks for the instant engagement, everyone. Rewarding these grant creators that take the time and have the courage to come on air to share their grant with everyone. Love to see it.
Yeah. And I see Yves is dropping 25 EOS on the grants he's donating to, FYI. So something to look forward to if you spoke after Yves left.
So we've got, so far, a total of 273 unique donors that have raised a total of 36,500 EOS, which is roughly 41,000, a little more than 41,000 US dollars. It was a total of 1,858 donations, and the average donation is $22. So those are our donor stats. We've got so far approved 121 grants, and I can get the number of how many have been submitted. Looks like we had about 182 submitted so far. So doing pretty good.
How does that compare to last season in terms of total submissions?
It's pretty close. I think we were like around 200 last season. I think we approved 170 something. We're up to 121. More donations coming in from Hernan right now as we speak. Thank you, Hernan. And yeah, let me see. I can pull up but I would say, I think just generally it was like we had around 200 grants, I think, submitted last season. And the pool was twice the size. So that's actually, I'm pretty happy to see that even with the pool getting cut in half, we're still seeing almost just as much grants coming in and getting approved. And another thing I'll say is we've actually gotten a little more tight on our approval criteria now. So there are grants that we might have approved last season that this season wound up in action required. They may still get approved, but we're a little bit more strict around. For example, especially if you're a returning grant and you're claiming you're an open source project, or you're claiming you're producing content, but you haven't provided any links on your grant application to those deliverables, you'll likely end up in action required. So that's something in previous seasons we were, not preventing to participate for that reason. This season we are. So if you got an action required email and you're wondering, oh, last time I got approved, this time I didn't, what's going on? That might be the reason. So make sure you're sharing proof of progress on your grant application. And even if you're a brand new grant, and again, let's say it's a new project, you're going to be making it open source, share the link to the GitHub repo that you're planning to publish your open source code to, even if right now there isn't any because you haven't done it yet because it's a brand new project. At least we should, the community needs to know where they can go and check up on the progress. So overall, like I said, very good. I think, we're going to have higher quality projects, roughly the same number getting approved. And yeah, I'm looking forward to still time to get approved and a whole other week of donations to come.
There you go. Beautiful. One quick note about these pitch sessions. You can still sign up to the pitch sessions, although it is getting last minute. I just shared the sign up form here in the chat. So if you got an approved grant, you haven't joined the other pitch sessions outside of this speed dating one, definitely encourage you to do that. Sign up as soon as possible, and hopefully you can get a spot on these pitch sessions. Another quick update about our NFT adventure with the Pomelo astronauts. The mission to the Bitcoin ordinal planet is live, or at least it's been activated. So if you want to learn more about how you can send your Pomelo astronaut off to the Bitcoin ordinals NFT world, read that article and then set up your wallet, etc. And then go to harvest.pomelo.io, scroll down to your astronaut in your inventory, and you'll see this Bitcoin button that's now appeared there. You can click that and send off your Pomelo astronaut on this mission. There is a limited amount of space available for these Pomelo astronauts. So if you really want to make sure you're on that voyage, get in there soon. There's also a bounty block contest. So if you want to help us promote this Bitcoin Ordinals mission, you can win some extra Pomelo astronauts and other prizes. So I'm going to share the link to that contest in just a bit as well. All right, I think that covers it for the Pomelo news. We still got lots of topics to cover. Technically, got 12 minutes left to the show. Hopefully you guys have your snacks ready, your drinks are still filled up. I think we're going to be going a bit longer than usual. So there we go. Here's the link to the Bitcoin Ordinals mission bounty block contest. So if you want to help us spread the word, earn some prizes at the same time. All right, Aaron Cox dropping the link here to a blog post about Wharf Kit. Did you want to talk to us about this real quickly, Aaron?
Sure. I'll try to keep it real quick. We talked about it a little bit on the Wharf meeting today. That'll be published here soon. But we just put out the first technical preview of the actual user interface. It's a placeholder interface, but it has all of the functionality you'd expect out of logging into an application, performing transactions, logging out, having it remember who you are between page loads. And yeah, we're just looking for developers who want to try it out early at this point. Let us know what they love, what they hate, and start collecting some feedback really early on so it can help influence the direction we head in the future.
Excellent. Thank you for that Wharf Kit progress update. All right, moving on to the next piece of news here that I wanted to talk about. The Yield Plus report for February 2023 came out last week, or this week. As always, I went through the report, took a few snapshots, some of my favorite graphs. Let me upload them to the chat here, and then we can review them real quickly. One of my favorite activities to do here on the Fireside, reviewing the efficiency of this Yield Plus program. So I shared the link to the blog post. You can find the full report in there. As for the graphs that I'm sharing here, the first one is the EOS TVL across eligible dApps. We can see some fluctuations over the last month, but in general, again, trending higher, which is good to see. Next one, we've got the top 5 dApps change in terms of TVL. So the top 3 candidates here, we've got Vault DeFi, Swap DeFi, and Lend DeFi. These are all DeFi box protocols. And we see the increase in TVL, at 10, 8, and 9% gains, which is great to see. Moving on to the TVL to market cap ratio, which remains buoyant and positively trending. And then if we look at the last image here with the overall performance metric which reflects fundamental growth of the program, we can see some solid stats here going up. We've got a bunch of graphs here with 2 lines in them. I'm not too sure exactly what the T-1 graph is all about. Maybe someone with more stats background can shed some light on the differences. But in general, we can see some good progress, steady climbing. There was actually another image here that I wanted to share, my favorite one. There we go, yes. And then the final one here, we can see the trend of the TVL divided by market cap, which is a nice ratio, I think, that is really probably one of the most important ratios in terms of showing the efficiency of this program. And we can see it's clearly going up and to the right. We've got the year-to-date ratio, which covers, of course, just over 2 months. And then we've got the trend since inception, which, again, similar, and we can see definitely. So the total value locked in EOS DeFi protocols is growing compared to the total market cap of the network. So I think that's a very important metric, and it's good to see that we've still got that positive trend line in that metric. T1, I believe, is what it was during the last report. Very interesting, Aaron. Thank you for that clarification. I don't know if anyone else wanted to add some more thoughts. I don't know if Denis or Zack had anything specific they wanted to highlight from this report, but these are the graphs that I found interesting myself. Nice. Drew's gonna start a website based on my mispronunciation. Coin market crap. I like it. Only shit coins. Okay, cool. Moving on to some other topics. We've got Antelope Coalition updates. Of course, the Antelope Coalition, they meet up every week to talk Antelope Coalition things. Here, we've just shared the YouTube video. And just going to quickly mention some of the topics that were talked about this week or last week. IBC Milestone 7 vote, peer-to-peer optimized transaction propagation, RAM limitation fixes, peer-to-peer discovery, instant finality, IBC approvers / champions. We got Wallet SDK update, Antler CDT, Ledger app support, coalition cost sharing. So that kind of gives you a quick overview of the stuff talked about last week. And at the same time, this kind of leads us into our next topic, which is a sneak peek at the Leap 4.0 upgrade that is coming up. At this point, oh, I waited too long. Zack is no longer with us. Uh-oh, what am I going to do? I'm not equipped to talk about this topic. I don't know if anyone else is in this chat, wants to share some light on the Leap 4.0 upgrade. There's nothing official yet. I think there's an article that's going to be coming out next week about this topic. I was hoping to give you guys a bit of an alpha drop before the article came out, but if Zack is not here with me, then I'm not sure I've got more to share on this. All right, NS James has got to run. Good evening, NS James. Thanks for joining us. We got a couple quick hitter topics, I guess. I had planned to have Zack talk to us more about all this stuff, but he's not here. So let's talk EOS EVM. Of course, that's a big topic in the EOS community these days. The upcoming launch of the EOS EVM, first on the testnet and then on the mainnet in mid-April. There's a nice podcast interview that was released just a couple days ago. Over an hour of solid EOS EVM content. We've got Zack Gall and Brendan Lovejoy sitting down with Areg and Matthias to chat about the technical work going on behind the scenes and the impact that the EVM will have on EOS. So some of the topics discussed in this podcast includes Matthias joins the ENF, EVM launch roadmap, the gas economy, trustless bridge, why EVM is important to EOS, what is Silkworm, crypto primitives, ZK snarks, performance and compatibility, instant finality, and account creation. All right, Andrew saying he watched the episode. It was gloriously nerdy and he loved it. We like it too. Did you want to share some comments, maybe, Andrew, maybe some of the sections that you found most interesting? Or maybe Brendan still with us? He was on that podcast. Not sure if he's still with us. Lovejoy. No. We're losing our ENF people. This fireside took too long. Paul GNZ says he watched it too. A lot of it went over his head. He's not gonna lie about it. Hey, I'm pretty sure not many people in the world is going to be able to fully understand all of the deep technical discussion that happened on the EOS EVM. But thanks for sharing. And even though a lot went over his head, Paul still took the time to watch it, and I'm sure learned a lot. So that's great. Anyone else here in the chat had time to see this episode? Love to hear your thoughts. It was released 4 days ago. Already has over 500 views, which is pretty good. All right, next up, we've got Zack representing EOS and representing the ENF at the Blockchain Game Alliance. So here's a link to the stream. This was streamed a couple days ago, 5 days ago. And it was basically welcoming the new members who joined the Blockchain Game Alliance. So of course, the EOS Network Foundation. There's also Blue Sky Interactive, Pacific Meta, Fruit Lab, and NFT Studio 24. Shout out to all of the new members of the Blockchain Game Alliance. All right, looks like we're gonna be able to wrap it up. Well, depending on how long the open mic and off-topic banter lasts. But the last topic I wanted to talk about today is the EOS Community Poker Tournament 3rd edition going on next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I shared the blog post here. It will be updated later on today with the new dates and the new information for the 3rd edition. It still has some information about the 2nd edition, but what you can do as of now, however, is fill out the form and send me a message if you're interested in participating. So I shared the Google Doc form here in the chat. Fairly easy to sign up. You fill out the Google form. What we need is we need your EOS account and we need your Discord account name. That's how we're going to allow you to join the tournament and then send you your prizes. You send me a message on Discord, so that way I can check that you are part of the EOS Community Discord server. And then other than that, that's all you got to do. You wait until Sunday, and then on Sunday, I'll be sending you out a link to the tournament and your personal invite code so you can join it. Fairly straightforward. You can fill out the form right now, send me your private messages right now or at any time over the kind of next 10 days leading up to the tournament next Sunday. That's right. Michael coming in clutch with a bad beat story. He lost a hand when he had pocket aces. We love bad beat stories about poker. But he did come in second. Michael had a nice result last time. Hopefully, maybe he does another run at the final table again this time. I'm hoping to do better than last time. I think I only won one hand. That pop bot. Oh, is there a bug with the pop bot token? Oh no. We've been working on the pop bot token. Let me see here if it's running. We got lots of people. We got lots of people joining. So make sure to go to the pop bot chat in the fun section here on our Discord server. /register. Type in your EOS account name, and you will be added to the list. We got 61 people already signing up today. That's great. As for our raffle tickets, this month raffle tickets not up yet. It will be soon, so you can look for that this week. And if not, I'll give you a reminder to mint that ticket next week. No bug. Feature request. Gonna need to add a register for poker. Register for poker. There we go. I misread your comment there at first. Yeah, we could definitely look into that. For now, we're going to use the Google form. But yeah, hopefully we can streamline all of these registration processes to reward our users that engage with our events. That's definitely on our to-do list. All right, that wraps it up for the topics that I had on my list. At this point, open up the floor to the community if you got some updates from your project. If we missed you and you didn't do your Pomelo pitch and you want to do one right now, let's do it. Off topic, this new segment where we maybe talk about current events. If you guys are interested, obviously the US bank bailout over the weekend is a pretty significant event for the entire crypto space. So not sure if you guys have some thoughts that you want to share about that, but yeah, let's hear it. Join me on stage if you've got anything to share.
Hi, this is Jesse with the Bees.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, everyone. I've actually got a big announcement today. The bees have come out with a new product called Mini Swarms. I'm going to post it in the chat. So this has been a feature request from members of the community. I want to give a special thanks to Brandon Lovejoy, who was the first one to ask for this. And then I kind of shopped the idea around. And we got really good feedback on it. So basically, Mini Swarm, we've cut the cost by up to 92% of the Swarm price. And I'll just go like the brief kind of story is that, of course, we started with no comments. The community told us that we should improve on our comments. They were low quality comments. So we built a commenting system. And then we started offering comment rewards for our bees. They write a comment, they submit it. If it's not a good comment, they don't get an extra reward. So it's a reinforced kind of learn to earn mechanism. And over time, we found that we found thoughtful bees. There are certain bees that were either reading, so we have this content link so there's the swarm link, and then the content link is like more information on whatever. Some bees read it and write better comments. And so the cream has kind of risen to the top. And these bees that are the best commenters, we have a new kind of tag, which we introduced in our Pomelo profile pitch, which is ambassador bees. And so now we, these are hand-selected bees that we look at their comments. They're all into crypto, and sometimes they're coming from other crypto communities. And basically, these mini swarms you can order as low as a 10 bee mini swarm for $25. And this is much, much, much less than anything we've been able to offer before. Obviously, you're not getting this explosive amplification effect with the Twitter algorithm, but what you are getting are quality comments and bees who will, over time, if you order enough mini swarms, they'll become knowledgeable community members. Inherent in our swarms is we teach our bees about your brand. And hopefully this will make it a lot more accessible to potentially every project in the Antelope ecosystem. And so that's the big announcement. Mini swarms, again, thanks to the EOS community for kind of showing us the way. And if you go to the link on the tweet, there's the article and there's information on how to order one. This is the best time to do it. It's Pomelo. We literally cannot put the price any lower than this. And hopefully you guys all like it. Thanks. And sorry, just one more thing. Just one more thing. We're with Nova Crypto, the Swarm cockpit. You can use that to follow what we're doing in our swarms. We're going to be adding the mini swarms in that analytical database, so you guys can make it really easy to see the mini swarms that we do. And I talk much more about this we recorded today. That's coming out March 23rd at 15:30 UTC with the Antelope Swiss workshop in Nova Crypto.
All right, thank you, Jesse, for that update.
Yeah, congratulations, Jesse. Bees, swarms for the people. So that can be your tagline.
Yeah, congrats, Jesse. I was just wondering, I don't know, I haven't seen the chat if you showed a link, but is that available now? And then do you get that in the same way as previously through the EOSBees Telegram bot?
Yes. Scroll up a little bit on the chat. I post the Twitter link of the announcement, and there's the article link in there, and the link to the chat bot to order it is on that article. And yeah, it's basically the same. You go through the chat bot, you submit your link. Now the new option is to submit a content link. So if you have like a supplementary article, which highly recommended. So the bees, we've developed these processes so the bees will spend 15 to 30 minutes reading or watching your content link. And they're pretty much guaranteed, if they actually do the work, they're guaranteed to get extra rewards, and they understand that. So they will read your link or watch your video. So there's that. And then we accept multiple cryptocurrencies. You submit the transaction link, and then we receive it on the internal team. Within 15 minutes, we should be able to approve and get your swarm activated. Thank you for the question, Stingjoy.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jesse. That sounds super, super helpful. And I agree, that's a great feature. So yeah, really excited about this. Go bees.
Hey, finally got the bee
Nice,
sound activated.
nice.
Found it. Found the bees.
Now, if you can just send us the taste of honey.
Bee! Bee!
Sounds like we're having technical difficulties with one of our bees.
Hopefully no one just tunes in right now. It's like, is that a goat sounding like a bee?
Yeah. Patrick, I think you're confused. You're confused.
Baby!
Steph hasn't played the dance party music yet, Patrick. We're still...
It's not time yet.
Yeah, don't miss the video with Jesse Jaffe on the March 23rd on Nova Crypto YouTube.
All right. Anything
You want to
else,
swarm?
or
Swarm now.
You guys,
I
you guys
just
looking forward to the
ordered,
dance music?
Yeah, I got a
mini swarm.
question. What do you all think of, because I'm sure many are familiar that the Silicon Valley Bank, it failed and it needed to be bailed out. And related to that, USDC, one of the stable coins, and I think maybe USD Exos too. I think there was another bank called Signature Bank. But anyway, do you think the perception of stable coins is going to change after these events? People kind of realize they're backed by dollars, but these dollars are in banks.
Yeah, my perception of USDC definitely changed over the weekend. I've got some what I considered, a safety stack of some crypto dollars in case everything blows up. But now I'm wondering, are these crypto dollars going to be there if everything blows up? So not so stable, not so safety. I saw a pretty crazy graph showing that like all the stable coins were down, like a variety of percentage each, except Tether, which is kind of surprising, which is a stable coin I've had concerns about for a long time. Many of my other friends in crypto are like, listen, Steph, Tether's the gold standard of stable coins. So it's kind of interesting to see Tether being the only stable coin not affected this weekend by the dip. But I think most of them have recovered at this point, which is, I'm sure, a great relief to many people in the crypto space.
Well, you know why, right? Tether was fine because you can't lose reserves that you don't have.
There you go. There you go. Can't have your dollars seized if you never had dollars in the first place. Geniuses. I see USDC is back to $1. Good to see. Happy about that. I listened to All In podcast with Chamath and some other tech VCs. It's been pretty good, actually. Denny recommended this a couple weeks ago. I've been blasting through a bunch of episodes. They had an episode on this topic. Rehashed a lot of the things that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard. Couple things of note that I thought was interesting was that the speed of this bank run on Silicon Valley Bank was definitely enhanced by social media. So there's this chat group with 200 VCs from Silicon Valley, and apparently someone mentioned they had fears about, Silicon Valley Bank. They were recommending their portfolio companies to withdraw, and then kind of everyone rushed to do the same thing. And so kind of highlights the dangers of these bank runs and how quickly it can snowball due to social media. And then of course, government on Sunday night came in, announced that all depositors would be protected. However, the shareholders are being zeroed out, which makes sense. Management of these banks that are been taken over by the government fired as well, which makes a lot of sense. But the Biden administration is trying their best to not frame this as a bailout for the banks, right? Silicon Valley Bank didn't get bailed out. Their shareholders went to zero. However, it still is a bailout for the banks, not necessarily Silicon Valley Bank or Signature, but all the other regional banks that are still operating, they kind of got a bailout in a sense, right? In a very real sense, in my opinion, because now if they make bad investment decisions with their depositor funds, the depositors don't necessarily have to worry about losing their deposits, since it looks like the government is going to be backstopping all deposits, which really bails out the banks in terms of having to do proper risk management and some of the risks that these banks might face if their management does a bad job. They'd lose deposits, they'd cause a run on bank, they'd have to sell their bonds that are heavily in undeclared losses at this point, all that stuff. So in my opinion, this is definitely a bailout for the banks. It's the first time that banks have blown up in the US since Bitcoin was created 12 years ago. Bitcoin was created at the end of 2009 as a response mostly to the financial crisis of 2008, when a lot of large banks blew up as well. And from what I can remember, I think this is the first time that a bank has blown up since Bitcoin was alive. And so personally, I was relieved to see Bitcoin doing well at the same time as these banks were exploding, which would have been concerning to me if that wasn't the case. So it was nice to see that was the case. I don't know if anyone else has some thoughts they want to share on the topic.
From what I understand, the Fed is the Federal Reserve of the United States, the central bank, is basically buying all these low interest, like long-term investments they made. Like a few years ago, no one expected very high interest rates, so they kind of made these what we know now were bad decisions. And basically, to save them, the Fed is buying them out like on par to what they are valued, instead of selling on the market, where who wants to buy something for 1.25 interest when the government is selling 5% interest. So I think it's definitely a bailout. But I don't know if it will save the banks, because if you're at a small bank, what's the point in being there? Why leave it up to chance? Just go to like JP Morgan or something. So we'll see if it pays off in the long run. I know in Europe there's there's Credit Suisse, if that's the right way to pronounce it, and they're like a much bigger bank, and they're in big trouble too.
Credit Suisse, that's amazing. Yeah, it's not going well for Credit Suisse. Thanks.
And considered that the reason why not everybody banks would say a large one like JP Morgan is because they prefer to go in person, and they don't. The big banks don't have a regional location close enough to make it a comfortable trip.
That's a fair point. So it's a presence then. So I wonder if some banks that have more marketing community-wise will fare better than other ones. Though it makes me really happy. Makes me really happy to have crypto, because I know unless there's some quantum computing revolutionary tech, it's gonna stay what I have, as long as I keep it safe in my own hardware.
Definitely brings more appreciation to one of the hardest assets in the world, which is, in my opinion, Bitcoin. I've gotten messages on Facebook from family members that are like, "Hey, Steph, do you have a couple minutes to talk investments in crypto?" Which is usually a great early indicator of an upcoming bull run when I've got randoms, or not randoms, but family and friends that are not typically interested in these topics reaching out to me on Facebook. So that started again this week, which is a bullish sign for the markets in my opinion.
It's weird to hear that people saying that the banks got bailed out or that the government's paying the bank's value. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you live in another country, they are. In the U.S., I mean, that's not exactly what happened. I mean, they are bailing out the bank's customers fundamentally. And whether you think that's right or not, that's up to you. But I mean, all the people who worked at the bank got fired, and the bank is done. It's over. So I thought that was kind of weird.
SVB didn't get a bailout, but all the other banks did indirectly. There's not as much risk on them to do proper risk management, and because there's not that much risk, to the depositors, then there's less pressure on the management. That's the way
I partly agree. I will say their costs are going up because of this. Like it's like getting in an accident when you have auto insurance. The auto insurance bails you out, but then your insurance rates go up, right? So now they all have to pay more to the FDIC, which of course they're just going to pass on to the consumers. I'm sure they don't care. So like I partly see your point. I agree to some extent, but I mean, I am grateful that they didn't literally bail out the banks like they did in 2008, because that was effed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't think
I think it was a good move that they did to backstop the depositors, because I think it would have been carnage if they did. So I agree with that move, but it's still a bailout in my opinion.
I don't think we've seen the end of it, so I think it's a bit too soon to claim that what the government did by bailing out the depositors it ends there, because we don't know. It's been expanding, and today we saw another drop other than Credit Suisse, which is I think First Republic, or what was it called?
Yeah, I think it is First Republic.
Yeah, that went down as well. So if we start seeing bigger and larger banks fail, what will be the amount of the bailout then? I mean, and we already saw Jim Cramer with this infamous tweet, JPM is a fortress. That's what he tweeted, like on the 10th of March. I'll fetch the tweet for you guys. But if Jim Cramer posted that JPM is safe, I mean, we're toast.
Yeah, inverse Jim Cramer all the time. Best investment strategy in the world, for sure.
That's the other thing I don't like about this. You bring up a good point. Like, everyone's running to the big banks. Like, that's the last person we need to be our savior, is the big banks. So, I mean, maybe they are more stable, but I don't. Go ahead.
I agree that the bailout was necessary, or rather, bailing out the depositors. I mean, from what I read, there are some companies that did payroll through SVB, so over 1 million people will not be getting paychecks if the bank went down. So, and it's definitely better than TARP, which was like they literally wrote like a $700 billion check to the banks. Definitely superior, but yeah, like as Hernan said, the consequences and the event is still ongoing. We don't really know how it's going to end. The distortions, we won't really know the consequences of such distortions, because it is basically unilaterally changing FDIC to be unlimited from 250,000 to basically unlimited. And so we don't know the distortions of the ramifications just yet. So hopefully the mid-sized banks don't topple after another, and it's only like a few big banks remaining.
And did anyone here do business with Silicon Valley Bank? Did they have accounts there? Were they running payroll there? Love to hear from you guys. On in terms of the impact this has on.
This is the EOS community you're talking This is an EOS Fireside chat. I don't know who in our community got to hopefully, raise large chunk of VC money, but I haven't heard of that over here in our town.
A good point there, Hernan. That would require
No,
but there's still
I'd love us to, listen, guys. I'd love us to have a lot of VC money.
Yeah, you can still open personal accounts at Silicon Valley Bank. Well, anyways, I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like no one was kind of exposed to that in our community.
Hey, maybe B1, maybe B1 had a big chunk of cash. I heard Brendan Bloomberg invested in Silvergate Bank. Well, I heard Brendan. They did an announcement like Brendan and B1 like bought a shit ton of Silvergate Bank. Like,
Don't worry, they diversified. They got Silvergate, they got Silicon Valley, they got Signature Bank, they got Credit Suisse. They diversified.
Yeah, I the other day wired money to Kraken, which is the exchange I use, and one of the options on the Kraken is still for Signature Bank as you have like 3 options to choose from in like a drop down menu for who you can wire through, that Kraken uses. And I was kind of surprised that Signature was still listed as an option. I don't know if they
a bunch of different Signature like affiliate banks of sorts.
Signature they're still operating. I don't know.
They're
That's
still
the
fine.
weirdest one out of all these banks, to be honest with you, because the government just kind of came in and said, okay, we own you now, you're fired. Also, all your branches are still open and everyone can keep doing business. So, like, I don't know what's going on there. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't understand the full extent of what's going on there either.
Operation Choke Point, where the U.S. government's trying to restrict all the on-ramps onto crypto. Obviously,
That's for real.
That's for real, for sure. And it's probably not.
They've been cracking down so hard.
Yeah, they have. SEC did a bunch of regulation actions in February against a whole wide range of crypto companies. They keep restricting the on-ramps, etc. While at the same time, Fidelity, I think today, Fidelity Crypto quietly went live, giving millions of retail customers access to Bitcoin and Ether. So the big players are getting approval, for crypto on-ramps, while at the same time, all of the other less approved players are getting shut down, which is kind of not surprising. It's not fun, but also at the same time, not really a surprise. To me, it makes sense that the U.S. government would. Yeah, go for it.
Do you know if it's real access, like where you can withdraw to a wallet, or is it like what Robinhood did, where you can just trade in it, but you can't withdraw? I'm just curious.
I am not sure. I would imagine it's the non-withdrawal type for now. Maybe later they'll add that function, but this is just speculation. I shared that link here, but I'm not sure if that information's in there.
Yeah, we'll still see if they try to scapegoat cryptocurrency as like an excuse for all these troubles at banks. Good that EOS, in my opinion, is very international. Like you have presences from all sorts of communities, and that can help diversify in case like one country is has too much of a bad environment. There are still others.
Yeah, my speculation is that the traditional finance system and the government are kind of colluding together to clamp down on on-ramps, depress the prices as much as possible, and then on the other side working on officially government approved on-ramps that are opening up at these big banks, these big finance companies. So I imagine these traditional finance players may be loading up on crypto at these lows, knowing that in a couple of months, while all the bad players or unregulated players, or when all that money's getting kind of squeezed out and prices are low, traditional finance steps in, buys in at these non-inflated valuation levels, and then really starts promoting this asset class. I don't know, just speculation on my part.
I mean, I think you're spot on. I think it's been happening for years. I mean, how many times has Jamie Dimon come out and like slammed crypto on the news while their company's quietly buying up a ton of Bitcoin? I mean, 1,000,000 times, and always in bear markets.
Yeah. So long term, I'm not too worried about the existence of the crypto space. I think there's definitely demand for these types of services, these types of networks, and I think I mean, I'm not liquidating any positions. Let's just put it that way. I'm still holding on to as much as I can.
Crypto is a very small pond, guys. Like the whole fiasco of going after crypto or blaming crypto-friendly banks for being risky, that's all smoke and mirrors, guys. What's happening here with the large financial markets is much larger than crypto. It's really, really the big picture. It's what's going down, and the macro is what's breaking now. So. Yeah, I think the next iteration of the financial race is definitely going to be built on blockchain and Web3. But for now, we are going to see most of the population and the financial markets that did not onboard into crypto and Web3 until now, they're going to be in trouble. And I don't know. We saw finally the decoupling, like in a big way, of like Bitcoin and Ethereum with the banks failing. So that's happening. It's the difference that from the financial crisis of 2008, because we didn't have Bitcoin. So this is what Bitcoin was designed for, and it's now fulfilling its purpose. So it's pretty prophetic to see, I bet Satoshi is looking at the charts from wherever he, she, they, them are, and going, that's right.
I like picturing Satoshi looking at 1 minute candles. That's an amusing thought to me. Seems like it's amusing to Patrick as well.
Satoshi.
I don't know. I don't think Bitcoin's fulfilling its vision. Like, it was supposed to be a currency, right? Not an investment. It's supposed to be deflationary, but not something that you just lock away forever. I don't think very many people spend it. I mean, one of the only times I spent Bitcoin was at Bitcoin Miami, and that was pretty fun with the Lightning Network. And I felt like I was in the future because everyone there took Bitcoin. But I mean, you guys are talking about like it's great to have crypto because this can't happen to us, and I'm in that position. Like I'm grateful for that too. But it's like my Food Lion doesn't take it, Kroger doesn't take it, Walmart doesn't take it. Like this is a good time for, if you're worried about this banking crisis, convincing your local vendors that you work with to accept it.
Well, they don't accept it yet, Zach, but I think that's coming. If Amazon's getting into NFTs, I don't know how they're gonna manage that without accepting crypto.
Who was that major player that just shut down NFTs?
Meta.
Instagram.
Meta and Instagram, they just shut down their NFT proposal, which I think is a great thing. I just read a post from a very intelligent guy. I think it's Anthony Day in LinkedIn, and he mentioned how good it was to that Meta shut down their NFT initiative because of the immense data privacy that happened. So I'm gonna send you guys this link, but he basically says that we should celebrate the Meta closing their NFT marketplace, because imagine just going over and saying connect your MetaMask to Meta, and that's it. Mark Zuckerberg is now going to know all your bags, your spending, if you're a whale or not, what are your spending preferences on crypto, what NFTs are you holding, or even what are you voting on different DAOs that you're participating. It's like they're pretty much the minute you connect your wallet to Meta, or to Instagram, it's done. Like they're gonna know all your crypto life, and you're linking your crypto life to your social accounts. So basically, that's it. Total doxing.
If we want to get even more pessimistic, we can start with well, keep mixing up the letters. CBDCs, the basically
That's
centralized
the fireside
Fed
chat
coin.
of the depressed guy.
So
EOS Fireside
definitely
chat depressed.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
This financial crisis is going to be the entry point for CBDCs. When people are truly broken financially, their government's going to come on with their one cure for all, which is going to be those CBDCs. Oh, you lost your money in the bank? Don't worry. Here is your equal amount.
Here's your Fed
in
bank
the
account,
CBDC
so you
we
don't
just
have
printed.
to worry about banking risks. Yeah, no, definitely this can be used as an argument to push.
Just make sure you use that money by the 31st of April. Otherwise, it won't be valid money anymore.
Yeah, that's when it's going to be important for us to educate the populations about really.
Oh,
what
the fireside
decentralized
chats will
blockchains
still
are
be
all about.
here.
There you go. Still be here.
We'll have
Talk.
each other to inform ourselves.
And the EOS will still be here, so that's also a good one.
All right. Patrick is requesting me to unmute him. We're going to unmute Patrick. He will do a speech of motivation, and we're going to wrap up the EOS Fireside chat afterwards. All right, Patrick, you've been unleashed. Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah, that's... You know what? I am so depressed to hear all this. Oh, no. You have to be motivated, guys. We are in EOS. We are not in the banks. We are not the fireside chat of the banks. We are not to do the apology of the banks. We have to do the apology of the smart contract with total value locked in it, of Pomelo grants. We have to go on Pomelo. Until tomorrow, you can do a grant, and I will do a grant today. So be motivated. Fuck the banks, okay? And fuck Block One, and happy to see the new logo coming, and we are all EOS, okay? That's right? That's true? Yeah, baby.
All right, we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a good evening. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
And
1, 2, 3, go.
Go EOS!
Go EOS!
Go EOS! You understand?